Hello and welcome. I'm 64-Bit Robot, and this is my Build a Day series, episode 1. I start off this episode with Create a Sim. This is going to be... my plan is to make a new world, a new save, and my goal is to build a lot for every for every space in Newcrest, and after I built something everywhere in Newcrest, that'll be the end of the series, I think. So I decided, might as well make a new sim, so I have a fresh save to build on. Meet Joe Builder. He is um, outgoing, he loves the outdoors, and he loves music, and he just wants to be outdoors, have a lot of friends. Uh, if you wish to skip this part, I am planning to include an annotation that you can click to skip straight to the build. This continues on for about 5 minutes, which is about the length of the test episode if you watch that. I got some pretty decent feedback on that. I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. People told me the audio levels were just fine, the video quality was just fine, and it uploaded without a problem. I mostly created that house to prove to myself that I could record the video, that I could slap it into Premiere, that I could edit it, and record audio over it, save it, encode it, upload it, and make sure that everything worked without a problem. So we, of course, have to dress our sim as always. I usually don't spend too much time. I'll just usually pick an everyday outfit when I'm making a sim, and usually I only pick one. Anyways, Joe here is definitely the outdoors loving type. Joe Builder. Turns out he actually loves to build houses. He's, in my head, the story is he's going to be the one building all of these houses that we're going to. I do like Create a Sim in The Sims 4, although there's not quite as many options as I would like, at least not as many as there was in 3, but 3 did have a lot of expansions to help it out. Primarily, I could not find a pair of sunglasses I liked. He did seem like the sunglasses wearing type. I just didn't find a type that was casual enough for everyday wear. I don't mess around too much with the sliders. It's, spending long enough wasting time creating his hair. I wanted a slick back hair for his formal look. It makes sense, Don't want to have a messy mane going everywhere. No hat. Yeah. Seems about right. So, yep. This time he gets sunglasses. So, anyways, create a sim in Sims 4 compared to Sims 3. I do like Create a Sim in Sims 4. I don't think it's bad. I do think I probably liked 3 better, though, because you had a wider variety of traits, and you could have more traits, and you kind of better defined your sim. But 4 is still pretty good. I do like, though, how in-game you get more traits through aspirations, so you get to develop your sim more. Less so in the Create a Sim and more so through gameplay. I think that's pretty cool. Especially since you get bonus traits for picking your initial aspiration, and then you get another bonus trait for every aspiration you fully complete. That's pretty cool. So I don't mind that there's not a whole lot of choice for when you're creating the sim, because you get to add more through buying them through aspirations, or through your aspiration reward points, or just for simply completing aspirations. Also, I haven't actually played through a whole family to have a sim develop from the child state to an adult state, but I did notice there's apparently more aspirations they can get if you complete the child aspirations, which are different from the adult aspirations. So that's pretty cool. I like that. It's definitely a cool system, I think. I haven't gotten to play all the way through it, and I'm hoping that as they add more expansions, they will add more traits. Anyways, we're coming up to the end here, so I cut out a little bit here, so here we are. We're going to New Crest, and I spent a little bit fiddling with a lot and decided to go with this one. Alright, so straight into build mode, and we'll start the build. So I'm not sure why I really wanted to build a campsite. I think I really wanted to use the tent from Outdoors Adventure, and I wanted to see if I could kind of just, build a minimalist lot that doesn't use any buildings, or, minimal buildings. What I did do is I think I built a pretty cool thing for the restroom, which you'll see later. I kind of wanted to mimic a campground as best I could, but I wanted it to sort of be like a personal campground. For a little bit I went back and forth if I wanted the cheapest grill or to buy something more expensive, because it turns out when you're not buying walls you do have a lot more money to go around. I decided to go with the cheapest. That way anyone downloading this lot can decide if they want to upgrade the grill or use the money to buy something else. So right now I'm drawing out what is eventually going to be the restroom. I wasn't entirely sure, and I spent a really long time working on this, but I am pretty happy with the results. So first, let's see, what do I do? Oh, delete the walls, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm working on half walls, because I really wanted to use half walls. At first I thought I was going to divide it into stalls, but you'll see, it works out pretty good. Anyways, so I recently got back into playing The Sims 4, not 3, I almost said 3, but I recently got back into playing The Sims 4, just because I noticed a video on YouTube. I'm like, hey, I own that game, why don't I go play it? So I did, and turns out there was a lot of new things which I hadn't quite noticed that were new. I guess half walls. I believe there were pools before I stopped playing. Don't use a pool here. I am interested to see what the new pools will be in the Get Together expansion, the natural pools, so to speak. So that'll definitely be interesting. Figuring out what I want to do here. First I decided I wanted to do an open archway, but then I realized it wasn't going to give me the open sort of feel I was going for. Because I wanted to put a window there, and there was just no window that really fit the exact way that I wanted. All of the really tall windows that had just a single pane just didn't fit because it was a half wall. It was a very tall half wall, but it didn't fit. So one thing you'll probably notice during my builds is that I don't use cheats like move objects or anything like that. I don't have anything against them. I just kind of like the challenge of designing without them. So that's what I do. I figured out here kind of what I was going for. I wanted to do some sort of lean-to-ish type thing. I liked the roof design that I came out with in my outdoorsman house, which I don't have a video on, but I, may post at some point, which had a single roof, which was just a very kind of like slated roof. Now, unfortunately, I did figure out something way after. Yeah, you see here that I'm putting on the roof that I wanted. So I drag it down, and you see it's, it doesn't look very interesting, but you start painting it up, and there's actually really nice options for changing the actual roof style, which is pretty cool. I do love those pillars. Those pillars came with, I believe it is, what is it called? The first expansion pack, whichever it is, the outdoors something or other. I think it's a pretty good expansion pack. I'm pretty happy with it. So I realized that I can't really do half walls there because I can't put in the doors I want, or like I can't put short half walls because none of the doors fit short half walls. That would be cool if that was a patch someday. So I tried a fence, didn't like the fence, because didn't give me as much openness as I wanted. I forget what I eventually decided on, but I was in fact happy with what I did eventually decide on. During the build of my manor house, I really started to love spandaus. They are very cool, and they give a lot of defining feature to the house. So I do mess around with this house a lot. So here I am trying out windows. None of them, I'm really not happy with any of the windows that I can use for this. But that's okay, I guess I don't really have to be. One thing I just realized, though, talking about this, is in this build I never actually put lights into this little outhouse. It's not really an outhouse, it's slightly nicer than that. Okay, yeah. So eventually I decide I'll leave the half walls like that, and all I have to do is put some beams, and then I can just draw a spandau between them, and that actually ends up, I'm pretty happy with how that looks, actually. Yep. So, yeah, that's the final design I picked for that. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't remember if I leave it that way or turn it back in, but you can see that's kind of just like a black slate roof. And then just changing the trim. Yeah. Anyways, so what I did want to talk about was the expansions, because I'm really liking the way they're doing the expansions for The Sims 4. You have the flat-out expansion packs, which looks like the base price is $40 for them, and those include, major game content changes, major updates. I think it's pretty good. Alright, here I'm trying to move the counter closer to the side, but since I put columns there, I can't put the counters next to it because I'm using half walls, so it doesn't really like to work. Yeah. Well, sinks. Anyways, so I really do like the expansions for The Sims 4 and the way they're used. Now, I didn't play The Sims 3 too much. Okay, that's a lie. I played it a lot, but I never really liked the way they did store content, because it's like, pay so and so much for this and buy individual items, and I think that's a terrible way, especially for people who want to create and download things that other people created, because it's just not going to work very well. Oh, I do like this shower that came in. Is it Great Outdoors? I really have to look that up. Anyways, I do like that shower. It fit the style I was trying to go for here very well, which is sort of like a semi-public, semi-private restroom. Sort of imagine as this is a campsite that you rent, or in this case, Joe Builder just kind of bought it outright. So like this is his timeshare. This is the land he owns, and he likes to camp here. And for him and anyone else who's camping with him, this is his own private restroom area. So there you can see I'm reusing the trick that I did in my test video, where you put half walls next to the toilet. I ended up not liking it. It took me a long time to get happy with this, because I wanted to have more than one toilet and more than one shower, and I just couldn't figure it out. The columns made it really difficult, and you can't put anything next to the door because that doesn't work either. I do eventually figure it out here, and I am actually incredibly happy with how that turned out. So, it definitely worked out. Anyways, I keep trying to talk about the expansions, but I keep distracting myself. So, I really like the expansions. You get the major expansion packs, which I believe are $40, and they're going to be releasing another one soon, which is Get Together. So those come with just the major game updates, well, not updates, but, new major features. And then you have the game packs, which are slightly smaller, which is like Spa Day, and I think the career get to work. Yeah, get to work was also part of that, which I believe was a game pack, so it was only like $20, and it included one of the features that people really liked, which was the ability to, create your own store, which I haven't played around with yet, but I'm looking forward to because it definitely seems like fun. So yeah, that's a pretty major content, but it's not a major content. Like, you don't have to pay full price just for that, which is good because it doesn't include as much, but it still includes content that people want. And then you have the stuff packs, which are a lot smaller. They typically don't include new features. They might include one or two new items, like I honestly can't remember them off the top of my head right now, but I have not been disappointed with the ones that I purchased so far. And actually, as it turns out, I purchased all the DLCs so far except for Spa Day, which doesn't interest me, but that's okay. I just don't have to get it. So, it's pretty nice. It's not dividing it as much as I would have thought. There's no kind of like, I don't feel like I need to buy the things that I don't want, especially with the way it's separated. At first I didn't want to get luxury party stuff, but then I actually looked at it and I really liked some of the stuff in it, and it turns out since it's a stuff pack, it's only $10. So that's not too bad. I don't mind the price. The price seems about right for what you get in all of the cases. Alright, so I should go back to talking about the build, because that is the main purpose of this video. I've mostly finished the restroom. I'm just trying to decide on flooring. I'm pretty happy with both the showers, pretty happy with the toilets, I'm pretty happy with the sinks, and I'm pretty happy with the entryway. I'm pretty happy with the walls too, and just have to figure out what I want to do for the flooring. It doesn't take me too long. I decide I want one flooring by the entrance, another flooring as the main flooring of the back room, and then just a third flooring for the shower area. I do a little bit of decorating, not a super large amount. I realized here that, I never put any lights here, which is probably bad. I probably should have. For a moment there, I'm like, why can't I put a decoration there? And it turns out, oh yeah, because the door frame, entry frame is in the way. In this case, I decide, okay, I can put a hanging towel there for people to dry their hands. Everyone needs toilet paper next to the toilet. Put that there. Wanted to put something over here. I'm not sure if I do put something there. I might leave that. I might remove it. I get rid of it here. I'm not sure if I put anything I like there instead. And then the one last detail I have to finish this off is to put a mirror. This that was a nice little detail. I'm pretty happy I found that. I think it makes sense right there for the showers. Right, put the mirror there, find frame I like, and yeah. So anyways, that actually took up pretty much most of my time. I'm incredibly happy with how it turned out. I think it looks great. So that's sort of the bathroom area. That was the kind of major build for this lot. It's what I spent the most time on. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do with the rest of it, just make some paths. I kind of reused a lot of idea that I used for the outdoorsman house that I designed, which can be found on my gallery. It's under the same name as my channel, so you can just search the gallery for by user origin ID 64-bit robot, and you'll see the very few things I published. This should be up there by the time I upload this video. It's not up there yet at time of recording, because I still have minor changes I keep making to it. Anyways, So you can see the manor house that I put up there. I'm pretty happy with it. And problem is, like, every time I upload something, I go back into edit mode and I'm like, ooh, I found one more tweak that I need to make it perfect. And I don't want to delete it, because then I have to retype the entire description again, and it resets all the downloads, and I have to resave the lot, and it's a hassle. So I'm hoping as I keep doing this series I get better at it, but we'll see. I'm not convinced. I mean, even here, after I finished the build, I realized after I started to edit the footage, there was a couple of things I forgot. So if you remember, Joe Builder is a music lover, so I definitely wanted to, cater to his interests. So, I make it a fairly open area that he can entertain friends, because he is outgoing, so he's going to meet some friends, bring him back to the campsite, serve him some hot dogs on the grill, roast marshmallows around the campfire, just have a good time. So what I forgot, though, is he's also a music lover, and I totally forgot to put a stereo somewhere on the lot, which, is fixable. I could just do it later, but I feel like a stereo is definitely something you would see on a lot. Anyways, this is mostly the rest of the video is me doing terrain painting. I think probably my biggest disappointment about The Sims 4 is that it's not The Sims 3, but let me explain. So one thing I really liked about The Sims 3, even though I never got the chance to really use it, was the Create a World tool. Now, I never downloaded a custom world or played in a custom world, but I really liked the fact that the Create a World tool existed. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get anything like that for The Sims 4. It's possible, you never know. You possibly could, but I don't think it's likely, because just of the way the maps and the worlds are structured, it doesn't seem likely. Which is a shame, because it means that The Sims 4 is kind of, less moddable than 3. But what are you going to do about it, I suppose? So here I am, trying to figure out exactly how I want to decorate it. It does take me a while, but I'm eventually pretty happy with the results. Yeah, this little bush gave me problems for a while. The collision for trees and bushes is almost tedious enough to make me want to turn on move objects for decorating this place. But I did eventually figure something out. I didn't have to do it. It was about... not about here. In a couple minutes from now, I'm going to realize that, oh no, I didn't leave any room for the horseshoes, and that's going to become a real big hassle real quick. So I'm like, okay, I want to put a rock by this tree, and then I realize, shit, the flowers are in the way, and now the trash can is in the way, and I don't want to put the rock on the sidewalk, because that wouldn't make any sense. Now the trash can is in the way. Where do I put the trash can? I don't know where to put the trash can. Get rid of the trash can. So now I get back to the terrain painting, because I'm mostly happy with the objects I placed. This will probably be a little bit. So the way I wanted to do the terrain painting, because I kind of got addicted to it after doing my outdoorsman house, is so I try and create sort of a used feel and create paths between objects. So I started off with a base coat over the entire thing of just dirt, because it's kind of meant to be like a campsite in the forest-ish. I know there's not a lot of I know there's not a lot of trees outside the lot in Newcrest, but it was just sort of the idea I was going for. So the base is a bunch of dirt, because around a tree, not a whole lot of grass is going to grow. I mean, you'll have a little bit, but you're not going to have fully green grass coverage. Now, at a campsite, especially one that's kind of, heavily used, you're going to have pebbles or gravel or something to kind of mark out your paths. And worst case, you might have greenery alongside the paths, and, the path is sort of worn in the middle. Like, under the tables, it's going to be worn, there's not going to be as much gravel, there's going to be more dirt, because people keep walking on it. Okay, so here's where I realize, crap, I didn't leave any room for the horseshoes, which I really wanted, because the horseshoes are kind of a major component of hanging out outdoors, I think. So I also realized I really don't have extra room to stick anything. So I moved the rock, and I have to kind of redesign the campsite area just so that I can fit this in. And at first it's like, okay, I mean that works, but I don't like the position, so I do fiddle with this for a while. Alright, so I was talking about Create a Sim, and I was talking, I wish I had, I was having trouble placing that tree. I wish I had remembered that I had scaled it up. It would have been easier to place it again if I had scaled it back down. So it's kind of a shame, like, there isn't a, and I very much doubt there's ever going to be a Create a World tool like there was in 3. I got to play with it a little bit, but not quite as much as I would have liked. Because I actually, the amount I played with it was that I got to play with the terrain paints, and I really enjoyed it, which is why I decided to go to Campsite, because it really gives me an excuse to use terrain paints. So my primary goal was to put a bunch of dirt around tree trunks, around the rock, around the building area, under the tables, anywhere that people didn't really walk. And then I wanted to put a little bit of greenery underneath the bushes. I wanted to have pebble/gravel anywhere people would walk. So that'd be like right next to the campfire, under the chairs, next to the picnic tables, next to the trash cans, up to the tent, up to the latrine. Yeah, I'd call it a latrine. Probably a latrine. So here, I realized that the dirt doesn't kind of mesh very well with the edge of the lot, so I'm using the eraser to just try and make it blend a little bit better. So just trying to make it work a little bit better. Putting some more dirt around the tree trunk. I do spend quite a lot of time. I'd say about a third of this build was painting the terrain to make it look nice. Which I found out really does help. It really makes a huge difference in the landscaping. So finishing up this, moving that tree to give myself a little bit more room to erase the green grass. Because I don't like grass at the base of the trunk, it just doesn't look right. Here I am putting some greenery, there's some bushes there, so there would be some greenery. And I started erasing here, but then I realized that I can actually just fill that out, because it's right next to the sidewalk, and it actually makes sense there. So I'm filling in more gravel to kind of define the walkway a bit more, make sure that it's right up to the edge of things. And then I take the dirt that I was using and I start to create small little small little paths inside the gravel where people would walk and they'd wear down the gravel. Such as right at the edge of the seats, right down the path, right up to the grill, right up to the latrine, next to the picnic tables, to the trash can. I believe I get the tent soon, and main entrance. Okay, so here's where I came back and realized that I forgot the stereo, or any other form of audio entertainment. Now, Joe is a music lover, so he would definitely have something in the campsite, and I think it makes sense in general to have a stereo at a campsite, or a guitar or something like that. Unfortunately, I never actually added a guitar or any other musical instrument. If I was going to make any change, that would be it. Also, I didn't like the expensive cooler. It didn't feel like it jived well with the campsite vibe, so I went with the cheaper one. Alright, so last thing is I'm adding the stereo now, and I realized I could have just put it on one of the picnic tables, and I kind of wish I did. I think it would have made more sense, actually. But I didn't. I decided, the stereo is kind of important. It'll get its own table. Yeah, well, that actually took a while. At first, I picked the table you saw there, but I didn't like that table. So I decided to go find a table I did like. And I couldn't. None of them... There's no single table I found that really fits the campsite vibe well. It would have been a lot better to just put the stereo on one of the picnic tables. But I eventually decide on that and throw the stereo on top of the table. Alright, here's some nice panning shots for you to finish up. The editing on these is not as good as I would have liked. I hope to clean that up for the next episode. But thank you very much for watching, and now I'm just going to let it finish with some still shots of the campsite. I'll make sure to upload it. So, thank you again for watching, and have a good day.